Hi, my name is Florence, and I'm an intern at HNGI 7, representing Team Century for the video task. I'll be talking about how to use the right widgets, how to use stateless and stateful widgets in your Flutter app. For non-Flutter developers or non-mobile developers, stateful widgets and stateless widgets are a very important part of the UI of your app. And then, if you do not know what Flutter is, peradventure you do not know what Flutter is. Flutter is a is a framework that can be used to create cross-platform apps. This means that you can create both iOS and Android apps using one code base. Can you see how powerful that is? And now, for stateful widgets are widgets that are mutable. This means that their change can their states can change, or their build method can change over time due to certain triggers. While stateless widgets are widgets that are immutable. This means that they do not change at any time. Their value does not change. Their values are static. Their values are final. And now, enough of this theory. Let me show you exactly what I mean by this. I'll be opening my code. And this is an example app that I created for this tutorial. If you're not a Flutter developer, this is how a Flutter app looks like when you first of all create it. It has a main.dat file in the lib folder. The lib folder is the starting point of your app. And when your app starts or runs, the first thing that it looks into is your main.dat. It looks at your main method and to run your app. So if you do not have a main method in your app will not run. And now the main method is taking in the my app. So my app is the first widget, or the first thing that your app sees. My app here in my example or my tutorial is a stateless widget. As you can see, my class app extends a stateless widget. Now this is an easy example, and I can use it to explain what a stateless widget means. In this example now, it only has a theme and a home. The theme is a theme data for your app, which you can include several values to define how your app should look. While the home is the first widget in your app. And in our case, our home is a stateless widget example. It's a stateless widget example. This stateless widget example also extends a stateless widget, because as the name says, it's a stateless widget example. It has a scaffold, an app bar, and a body. The scaffold is basically what the cover of the app. The app bar has a text of home. It's centered and is centered to, and is centered. And then the body is tabs. Tabs are what you can use to navigate on one screen. Navigate to two different screens on one screen. And then if you look at this example, it doesn't have anywhere. There's no need for you to change any of the values. Hence why it is stateless widget. You do not need to change the text title. You do not need to change the app bar. You do not need to change the tabs. The values are final and they are immutable. Now your first tab is taking in a. Your first tab is a is this, and is a stateful widget. I'll be using this example, this class first tab, to explain what a stateful widget. As I had said earlier, a stateful widget is one which is mutable. This means that its state changes. Its state is not final. A very easy to understand example of a functionality that requires a stateful widget is a form widget. So now in this example, I used it here. I have a form which takes in email and password, which has an email, password, and raised button. And now, if in this is a classic, this is an example of a sign up form or a login form, which takes in an email, password, and has a raised button. If a user is with your application and he types in the value of the email and the password, this means that the already declared value will change, hence why it has to be a stateful widget. We need something to be able to monitor every change that happens in your app. If it was a stateless widget, you will not be able to change the state of your value. If you are taking in an email and the password, what you would most likely use it for is to sign into your app. So you do not know what your user will type in. You do not know who is with your application. You do not know what the user will type in. So at the change of or at the inputs in any of your form, you set the state of whatever the user has taken in to your email to your set it. You take in the value that the user has imputed and set the states of your already declared values. In this case, I have a string email and a string password declared because this is what I need for my form. So this form has a text form field where you can type in. On change, I am setting the state to the value of whatever the user has typed in. Now, the set state is a very important method in a stateless value. This is what you can use to. This is one of the things you can use to change the state of your widgets, of your stateful widgets. When you call this method, your widget rebuilds. It's one of the methods you can use to change this. So your widget rebuilds when you call the set state method. In this case, the state of your email, your string email, is going to be changed. And also the password has a similar structure. When I call the set state method, the password changes. Now for the last one, which is a raised button, I'm not signing in into any application. I'm just printing the email and password. But if you were to sign into an application, you probably call your endpoint, or if you're using Firebase, you sign in with the method used to sign in. And now the second tab is also a stateless widget, which I had earlier explained. It's just a simple scaffold that has a text at the center. The text states this is another stateless widget. So this particular widget does not require you to change anything, hence why it's a stateless widget. If I was to change the state of my text, probably if I wanted a random text to be displayed at the center, I would have to convert it to a stateful widget and call the set state method where I need to call it. Thankfully, now if you want to create a stateful widget, in your ID you can simply type stf and then click on the Flutter stateful widget. Call it whatever you want to call it. This is a stateful widget, and then voila, you have a stateful widget, and then you can start defining how your app will look. But if you want to create a stateless widget, you just type in stl and voila, you have a stateless widget. This is a stateless widget. And voila, there you have it. You can start typing in whatever you are, however you want your app. You can start building your app however you want it to be. Also, another method you should know is how to convert a stateless widget to a stateful widget. You can click on the bulb icon. I really don't know what this is called, and then convert to a stateful widget, and that's it. Peradventure you made a stateless widget before, you want to convert it to a stateful widget, just click on that bulb and then you have a stateful widget. Easy peasy. Now I'm going to recap from the beginning again. As I said, a stateful widget is one whose value is mutable. whose value changes throughout the life, throughout its cycle, or at any point in the app cycle. While a stateless widget is one whose value remains final, or you can say remains immutable. Now, when you want to create your application, you should also always consider whether you want a particular widget to be stateless or stateful. If you know that your values will not change, they are static values, you can use a stateless widget. Example of values that do not change, that can be that do not change, are icons, text values, they do not change, app bar, they do not change their values. But examples of stateful widgets, like I had already explained, is a form field where you do not know what the user will type in, a checkbox, a list view builder. Those are example of a stateful widget because their values will change depending on, you do not know how their values will change, and so you have to call the set state method. I hope you enjoyed this short video. Thank you for watching. Do have a lovely day.
Kindly subscribe to this channel and like this video.